Now that we've finished our Muslim stereotype and anti-stereotype, we're going to create one more. If you press the duplicate tool, it creates a copy of this sprite, and what's great about it is this whole code block is copied as well, so you don't have to redo it. There's going to be one or two things we're going to have to change, but I'll talk about that in a moment. So we have our copy of the Muslim. Let's change it to a new stereotype. We're going to go to costumes, and here we're going to, instead of using the eraser, let's use a different method. Let's use this select tool. It's a little bit easier, as you'll see. We're going to drag it around the Muslim terrorist, and we're going to press delete. For our new stereotype, we're going to use transgender woman. So write transgender. And let's paint the transgender woman a different color. Let's do burgundy. I have to delete this. Okay. Now let's put a label. There's tons of false stereotypes, harmful stereotypes of transgender men and women. One of which is that they're confused. Another is that they're dancers. So let's go ahead and write transgender, confused dancer. Okay, and now let's think of a positive anti-stereotype. How about warm-hearted principal? Warm-hearted principal. Okay. Let's go back to scripts and press the green flag and see what's happening. Problem. The transgender woman and the Muslim are located in the same space, so they're right on top of each other, and it doesn't look so great, and it's a little confusing in the game. The reason why is because if you look at the code, right at the beginning, it starts here at this position, and because it was copied, the transgender woman is going to start in the same position. So instead, let's drag the transgender woman where we want her to start. And now let's separate this code block, get rid of this go-to statement, little code piece, and let's put this piece of code in there. It automatically was filled in by Scratch in this new location. And now let's reconnect the code block. And let's check it out. Perfect. For the final tutorial of this game, we're going to create a you win and a you lose sprite that appears if you win and if you lose. We're going to take our paint bucket and we're going to write in you win. And let's create a second costume. So I'm going to press this here, paint new costume, and we'll put you lose. You lose. Okay. Well, let's label this here. We'll call it win-lose. And we don't want this to appear in the beginning. No one's won or lost yet, so when I press the green flag, let's hide this. Let's take a moment to look at the final game so that we can talk about a slightly more difficult concept. So when I press the green flag, I have these two stereotypes headed for me. -1, I'm less brainwashed. -2, I'm even less brainwashed. And then the game ends because I've gone less than -1. In fact, I've gotten to -2. So your code is going to say if brainwash is less than -1, meaning it has to be -2, because you have two characters 2 stereotypes you have to kill. Then you switch to you win. So let's go ahead and look at that code and recreate it ourselves. So to write that code, we'll say forever, I want you to look for something scratch. If the points are less than -1, then show win. So remember, win is costume number 1 and lose is costume number 2. So if it's the less than symbol, if brainwash is less than 1, then show, because we want it to finally show, and switch to costume 1. And let's do another if statement. If costume is greater than 1, if brainwash is greater than 1, crap. So now let's write the code for win to show and lose to show. So win is costume 1 and lose is costume 2. And if you are able to shoot 1, it's -1. And if you're able to shoot a second stereotype, it's -2. Because each time you shoot a stereotype, you're going down by -1. You're getting less brainwashed. So let's write the code so that if it's greater than -1, meaning, less than -1, meaning you've shot 2, so -1, -2, so if it's less than -1, then let's trigger the win costume. So the way you write this code is, first of all, I want it to hide, and then forever, I want you to look for something scratch. Forever, if brainwash, this is the less than sign, if brainwash is less than -1, if brainwash is less than -1, then show, so show this costume, and let's make sure that we're switched to costume number 1. Last piece of code. If brainwash is greater than 1, then also show, but change to costume 2. Switch to costume 2. Okay, let's try it out. So here, we shot 1, and we shot 2. There we go, you win. Now let's get beaten by these stereotypes. Our brainwashing is going to go up 1 and then up 2, and it's going to trigger that. Up 1, up 2, you lose. And there you have it. You have created an anti-stereotype game called Brainwash Blaster.